I'll call the meeting to order at 6:40. First, I'm going to apologize to the people that gave up their time to come to the Board of Education meeting and us starting late. Again, as usual, what we did have an executive session that we needed to get through. We tried to get through as quickly as possible. We actually even cut it short, and we're going to probably go back into executive session to continue what we were talking about when we get done with our regular board meeting. But my apologies to you for keeping you waiting. So with that, welcome to the Board of Education meeting. Thank you for taking your time out from your day to come and participate in your board meeting. So thanks again for coming. I see there's at least one elected official here. I see Councilman Guardiola here. I don't see anybody else. Thank you all for coming, parents. Everybody else, thanks for coming. So with that, can we get us to stand for the Pledge of Allegiance and a moment of silence for, I think it was last year's basketball coach, Coach Swift, passed away. So if we can have a moment of silence for him after we do the Pledge of Allegiance, it'd be greatly appreciated. Thank you. I pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you.
Tim, you would have to send some people.
So once again, can you guys crowd in the back maybe?
Yeah, they have to have a seat.
Hmm?
You gotta
They
have
have
a
a
seat.
seat.
Yeah. It's just a fire code. I'm sorry, folks, but I can't have people standing against the wall. Thank you. Can I have roll call, Monica, please?
Mr. Achuleta?
Here.
Dr. Hyde?
Here.
Mrs. Quintana?
Here.
Mr. Rolla?
Here.
Mr. Thomas?
Here.
I need approval of the minutes for January the 9th of 2018.
So move. Second.
Any discussion? I have roll call, Monica, please.
Mr. Achuleta?
Aye.
Dr. Hyde?
Aye.
Mrs. Quintana?
Aye.
Mr. Rolla?
Aye.
Mr. Thomas?
Aye.
I'd like to back up for just 1 second. I'd like to introduce the board attorney, Brent Case, who's sitting here up here in the front. We asked him to come in and do some legal work for us and asked him to stay for our meeting tonight because we still have some work we have to do after our meeting. So he'll be here attending the meeting with us also. I just wanted to introduce him. Thank you. So can I have approval for the agenda?
So moved.
Second.
Any discussion? Roll call, Monica, please.
Mr. Achuleta?
Aye.
Dr. Hyde?
Aye.
Mrs. Quintana?
Aye.
Mr. Rolla?
Aye.
Mr. Thomas?
Aye.
That moves us into audience comments.
3 minutes, that's it.
Where is that at? So board policy allows a person to come up and make a board comment for 3 minutes. No ceding of time will be allowed. But you can come up, ask you to state your name and whether or not you're from the district or not. You don't have to give us your address. If you're a student, we don't want your address. but just say what school you belong to, and we'll go from there, okay? Can I have Marie Seal?
Good evening.
Good evening.
I am Marie Seal. I'm here on behalf of my son Devin Seal. He scored 9th place. I'm on the issue of, before I get ahead of myself, 3.7, request for out-of-state championships for regionals. No one in this district has ever made it so far. And I think that approval of him of going out of state with Colonel Harry would be phenomenal. The Marine Corps is totally funding his trip. That means no cost to the district as well. He is going up against kids that shoot 5 days a week. My son was only shooting 2 days a week when he took the bronze, and we have moved it up to 5 days a week. Colonel has put him on a 5-day regimen so that we can have a strong showing. I think with the 5-day regimen, he has a really good shot at going to nationals. And I don't know if, this is a big deal to us. I mean, him placing 9th in state is a big deal to me, considering nobody's made it this far. The ROC program at Adams City High School has been phenomenal to me, my sons, and my husband as well. My first son, that was in 4 years of ROTC, graduated, went on to Lincoln School of Technology, graduating magna cum laude. My second son is not the academic scholar, but heart and the will to strive for better and the self-confidence that the ROTC program has done for my children, I can't even express my happiness or joy. So again, I'm not going to take up the full 3 minutes, but I did bring props because I am a proud mother. And I would trust in Colonel Harry and in Sergeant Major the lives of both my children. That's how confident I am. And again, given this shot, I think that he will have Adams City High School shine. So thank you again. And he's also, I believe he's ranked 14th going into the regional championships. And again, they would be flying into Atlanta. So I will wrap it up to leave some time for others to speak. And thank you and have a nice day.
Congratulations and thank you very much, Marie.
Can you keep us informed after the nationals, how he did?
Absolutely.
Thank you.
What was his name again?
Devin Seal.
Devin Seal. Thank you.
Jody Slavic.
Okay, thank you. Good evening, President Archuleta, members of the Adams 14 Board of Education, parents, students, community. My name is Jody Slavic, and I'm with the Bueno Center at the University of Colorado at Boulder. I'm actually speaking on behalf of Sandra Butvalowski, who is the principal investigator and director of the Literacy Squared Biliteracy Project in Adams 14. We have been working with Adams 14 teachers and administrators since 2015. Some clarifications need to be made about the biliteracy program being implemented. First, Literacy Squared is a biliteracy program that starts in kindergarten and continues through 5th grade. Starting in kindergarten, both Spanish and English literacy are taught. To be explicit, English literacy is called Literacy-Based English Language Development, or ELD. Our slogan is English sooner, Spanish longer. Second, the project has over 10 years worth of evidence and research that shows bilingual children in this program have reached grade level expectations in Spanish and English when the program is started in kindergarten and continued through 5th grade. Discontinuing biliteracy instruction after 3rd grade, as is being discussed by Adams 14 leaders, will not lead Adams 14 children to the academic benefits from participating through 5th grade in the program. And third, the Literacy Squared team has provided over 225 hours of on-site support to biliteracy classroom teachers since we started the project in the fall of 2015. So I leave you with this question. How will the district support the biliteracy teachers when the English Language Development Director has already been put on leave and there is only one half-time ELD coordinator dedicated to the 7 elementary schools? Thank you.
Thank you, Jody. Deborah Palmer.
She's in the overflow.
Deborah Palmer in the overflow room.
There she goes. Here she goes.
Buenas tardes, señores y señoras de la mesa directiva, padres, estudiantes y miembros de la comunidad. Good evening, Chair, members of the board, parents, members of the community. My name is Deb Palmer. I'm a professor of bilingual and ESL education in the School of Education at the University of Colorado Boulder. And you give me a second to breathe because I just ran down the hall. Okay. I want to share this graph with you, and there's posters as well as the slides, so you can hopefully see it clearly. Often people will base their understandings about bilingual instruction, about what bilingual children need, on their own experiences or on the experiences of someone they know. Each of those anecdotes is like a research study of one. This graph represents the outcomes of a nationwide study including over 200,000 kids in urban and rural school districts from all over the country. And it tracked their English academic achievement for 5 years. In 2 short years, the current superintendent of Adams 14 School District has moved the district from a plan that would have taken our kids close to the very top of this graph to a plan that will take them almost to the very bottom. The bottom 2 lines represent teaching only in English to English language learners. The very bottom one represents what they do in Arizona, where this superintendent comes from. And the next 2 lines represent what the superintendent tells us he will support, using Spanish only to help students get to English as fast as possible, and moving students out into English-only instruction within just a few years. The light blue line, that right there is the early exit program. That represents what the superintendent says he supports. The dotted blue line, the darker blue line at the top, is where the average native English speaker is. And these top 2 lines, the pink and the blue, the dark blue, represent dual language programs which teach bilingual children bilingually in both English and their home language from the beginning and all the way through. The pink line stands for the biliteracy plan that was in place here before the superintendent arrived. So from where I stand, it looks like this superintendent is taking Adams 14 from a plan aimed at excellence to a recipe for failure. Thank you.
Thank you, Deborah. Angla Asesora de la Raza.
Buenas noches, distinguidos miembros de la Junta de Gobierno, presidente Archuleta. Mi nombre es Ángeles Osorio de la Rosa y soy estudiante de posgrado de la Universidad de Colorado. Trabajo con personal y familias del distrito de Adams 14 por medio del programa de biliteracidad al cuadrado desde 2015. I actually have it in English, and I have some copies for you to follow my speech if I can approach you.
Sure.
with that.
No, that's fine. Thank you.
I can read it later.
Will you start the time again, Monica, please?
Thank you. Okay.
So before we get any further, please, I have to have you folks away from the wall into a seat. That we do have an overflow room that is just around the corner, and you can hear everything that's happening. I just need you to have a seat. I'm sorry.
If she would slow down a little bit, I could understand. If she would slow down a little bit, I could understand her, but I don't think she's going to slow down.
Thank you.
Could I finish and then have someone with that? Thank you. Buenas noches. Estoy aquí para unir mi voz con la de la señora María Chávez, de la primaria Mónaco, en apoyo de las familias del distrito porque se les da información a medias y porque esta historia ya se vivió en 2010. El distrito que dirige el doctor Abrego y su gabinete tiene la obligación legal de apoyar a sus familias según lo estipulado el título 1 de la Ley de Educación Primaria y Secundaria, pero no para convertirlas en profesores sustitutos de sus hijos. Cuando la directora académica y oficial de innovación en entrevista con Chuckbit asegura que quiere, y cito, empoderar a las familias para que puedan enseñarle español a sus hijos, implícitamente responsabiliza a las familias de la ineptitud del superintendente y su gabinete para apoyar a su planta de profesores o contratar al personal capacitado para educar a nuestros niños tanto en inglés como en español. Sin mencionar que al contratar a madres de familia del distrito no está obligado a compensarlas de forma equitativa a que si fueran personal ya capacitado. Asimismo, cuando la directora académica y oficial de innovación decidió que las calificaciones de los alumnos mejorarán si pasan más tiempo en el salón de clases, sin importar que no coman ni se despejen, está desempoderando a las familias, ya que las reglas de participación y las expectativas ya han sido negociadas. En otras palabras, no está actuando a favor de los niños y mucho menos están honrando el conocimiento que las familias tienen de sus propios hijos. Cuando a las familias no les queda clara la información que reciben del distrito o las escuelas, como cuando las boletas de calificaciones están solamente en inglés, no hay transparencia de la información. Si estas prácticas, que por cierto violan los derechos y garantías individuales de los alumnos y sus familias y no cumplen con la ley, buscan subir las calificaciones de los alumnos del distrito, quiero exhortar a este honorable Junta de Gobierno a asegurar que la administración del doctor Abrego busque trabajar en conjunto con sus familias y no alejarlas con prácticas hostiles y políticas retrógradas lo antes posible, es decir, que se cumpla lo acordado con la Oficina de Derechos Civiles, OCR, de 2010, o que si la administración del superintendente Abrego es incapaz de trabajar en conjunto con las familias, de darles la confianza que se requiere para participar, de reconocer y apoyar sus cualidades, entonces la Junta de Gobierno del Distrito deberá conseguir a un superintendente capaz que sí lo logre. Distinguidos miembros de la Junta de Gobierno, el doctor Abrego tiene la obligación de buscar las formas más convenientes de comunicación con sus familias para desarrollar liderazgo y colaboración con la comunidad y las escuelas del distrito, basadas en confianza, claridad y apoyo mutuo. No permitan que la historia se repita de nuevo. Gracias por su atención y consideración.
Thank you.
I wrote all over mine.
Okay. Do you have any more? Yeah. If not, it's gonna take more than 3 minutes to the whole thing. Okay. So, hi. My name is Luis Green, and I'll be reading this in English. This is statement. Good evening, members of the board, President Archuleta. My name is Angela Osorio de la Rosa, and I'm an education PhD student at the University of Colorado Boulder. I have worked with the district personnel and families through the Literacy Square program since 2015, and I'm here today to add my voice to that of Mrs. Maria Chavez of Monaco Elementary in support of the families of the Adams 14 district. We have been given half-truths, and because history is repeating itself from 2010, the district under Dr. Abrego and his administration has the legal commitment to support their families as per Title I of the Elementary and Secondary Education Act, as amended ESEA. not to make families into substitute teachers of their children. For instance, when the Chief Academic and Innovation Officer asserts of Chuckbit that she wants to empower our parents to teach their children Spanish because that is how he learned. She is implicitly holding parents accountable for the district's inability to support their teacher's body or hire competent personnel that will support the learning of our students, both in English and Spanish. Not to mention that the district is not required to pay equitable wages to mothers in training than to already trained personnel. In that same vein, when the district chief's academic and innovation officer decide that a student's academic would improve if students spend more time in the classroom with no time for food or leisure, she is disempowering the families because the rule of participation and expectations have already been negotiated. In other words, she is not supporting your students at all, let alone honoring your family's knowledge of their own children. When understanding of district and school communication is not clear, for example, report cards that are only in English, there is no transparency of the information. If these practices, which disregard children and their families' cultural practices, and the civil rights are not improve students' academic achievements, I encourage this honorable school board to ensure that the current superintendent and his administration find ways in which to work together with all the families, instead of drifting them away with hostile practices and old-fashioned policies. That is, complicity with the OCR Agreement Resolution of 2010, or identify if the superintendent's administration is incapable of building the trust necessary to work in partnerships with their families, of learning and leveraging families' assets. Then the board should consider hiring a new superintendent capable of so doing. Distinguished members of the board, current administration under Dr. Obrego has the obligation to find the communications channels that best fit their families to build communities, leadership and collaboration based in trust, clarity, and mutual support from the families to the superintendent. Do not allow the history to repeat itself. Thank you for your time and consideration.
Thank you. Annie Bonstock, did I say that right?
Good evening. My name is Annie Founstock, and I'm a special education teacher at Rose Hill. I've been at Rose Hill since 2008. I had hoped that Rose Hill would be my forever school, but that is no longer an option. I have had hard years at Rose Hill over the past decade. None of those years has compared to what we've experienced this year. Tonight, I want to talk about staff turnover in the middle of an academic year. Typically, this is very rare and close to unheard of, but is a common occurrence at Rose Hill this year. As of January 22nd, 8 staff members have left Rose Hill. This isn't about staff not wanting to work in a turnaround district or a turnaround school, because 5 of the 8 staff who have left Rose Hill left for positions within Adams 14. I have accessed multiple supports to avoid having to make this decision. No changes have been made. It is an environment where I feel I cannot successfully do my job. Since the first week of school this year, my special education coordinator has been a weekly fixture in our school to support the principal in complying with IEPs. In August, I was told that I would be the first responder for any behavior concerns of SPED kids. I expressed concern that this would impact services of all of my students, and students routinely do lose IEP service time due to this administrative demand. I filed a formal grievance with HR as a result of this. No changes came of that. Our specials team came together to develop our behavior support system in January, because we did not have one up until this point. When our teachers ask for support, they are told that it must be a classroom management behavior or management issue, and they are not offered solutions or support. In the fall, the superintendent came to our school to talk about beyond textbooks. I told him at the staff meeting that we had significant behavior concerns in the building, and instruction was not able to happen following best practice. He stated that this was a building concern. I've reached out to my union multiple times, and my reps have shared my concerns with both the principal and our superintendent. So if you're worried about financial repercussions of a lawsuit or paying out a contract, what about the education of our students and working environment for our staff? What do you think is the monetary cost of an entire year of lost instruction for around 500 of our children? Are you going to continue to allow Rose Hill to lose valuable staff with years of service? Finally, many of my colleagues also have significant concerns, but they don't feel comfortable sharing publicly for fear of retaliation. If probationary staff felt protected, you would be hearing from many more people. As a result of my work environment and the lack of results from the support I've looked for, I'm resigning my position after close to a decade of service. Thank you.
Thank you, Annie. Deborah Figueroa.
I think she's in the.
Deborah Figueroa, if you're in the overflow room, could you please come up?
Here she comes.
Okay.
have no energy to run. Sorry. I'm exhausted. I'm going to say good evening for the sake of time to all of you in one breath. And then I'm going to share and just ask us to listen to the time, date, and this person's story. And I want to challenge us to think about our future decisions and hope that this is not what we're doing without saying that this is what we're doing.
And it's Friday, which is when we hear from StoryCorps. Maggie Marquez and Jesse Silva grew up in the town of Marfa, Texas in the 1950s, and we have their story. In the 50s, Marfa's schools were segregated. Latino children were sent to Blackwell Elementary, and for many, Spanish was their first language. Maggie and Jesse were among the students at that school, and they came to StoryCorps to recall the day their school banned students from speaking Spanish in a ceremony called the Burial of Mr. Spanish.
I walked into the room, and the teacher, she said for us to get a piece of paper and write down, I will not speak Spanish in school. So I wrote down on a piece of paper, folded it up, and gave it to her. All the teachers, they had a little cigar box and put the kids' little papers in there. And we all marched out to where the flagpole was.
The whole school was there, and they already had this hole dug.
Yes, and then they put the box in there and covered it up.
We had gone to family funerals before, so we understood that there was a funeral going on, but we didn't know why. And everybody was very quiet when they buried Mr. Spanish.
They told us to go back to the classes, and we were not supposed to speak Spanish at all. So I told my friends, nadie me va a parar que yo no hable el español. Nobody's going to stop me from speaking Spanish. And I didn't know the teacher was right behind me. And the teacher took me to the principal.
And what happened there?
He swung that pedal, and I got 3 leaks.
Wow.
It was my first time, and I was hurting, so I ran home. I didn't go to school for 3 days. I had big bruises. My dad, he wasn't happy because they were not supposed to have hit me. But he told me I needed to go back to school and I needed to follow the instructions.
Our parents always supported the teachers.
Yes.
And I remember my dad said, if you're in school, you just be obedient, don't stir the waters. But I felt a loss. I felt like something was being ripped away from me. And I was only 6, yet I understood that something's wrong here.
I wanted to ask questions, but I just kept quiet. But now, as I have grown older, if I see something that is not right, I'm going to speak.
It was part of the past, but you learn things through the past.
So my parting words are, what are we learning? And what are we saying without saying? What are we doing and telling children? And are we in the 1950s? So again, it's a story, and it is someone's story here. So we have to think about that and what it means, no 4, no 5 for bilingual or biliteracy support. That's it. Thank you.
Jorge Garcia.
Members of the board, my name is Jorge Garcia, Executive Director of the Colorado Association for Bilingual Education. My body sleeps in another district, but my heart resides here in Adams 14. Some have questioned our standing to advocate in this community, but we are firm in our commitment to the students, families, and employees of Adams 14. Many of them have been served injustice by policies and practices of this superintendent. CABE has current members and former board members from here, held CABE meetings here, supported local businesses, donated food to community members, paid the district to rent the high school for an institute, and recognized an Adams 14 employee as a state paraeducator of the year. CABE is listed in the turnaround plan that Director Rola signed last year for this board. We have been here, committed to this community. Quote, "Once social change begins, it cannot be reversed. You cannot uneducate the person who has learned to read. You cannot humiliate the person who feels pride. You cannot oppress the people who are not afraid anymore. We have seen the future, and the future is ours." Cesar Chavez. District leaders, how much will you ignore? How much longer will you allow your employee to continue to violate the civil rights of students? When you hired him in July 2016, the district was in compliance with the Office for Civil Rights. Today, 1.5 years later, the district is out of compliance. Hostile environment for workers and families. Children have lost recess. Parents have lost conferences. You and the public are told lie after lie. Chaos and injustice rule this place, and you say that we are outsiders making trouble? Who is breaking the Colorado law? Colorado revised statutes say within 90 days after becoming a resident of Colorado, an owner of a motor vehicle shall register such vehicle with the department. A person who violates this paragraph is subject to the penalties provided in law. The car parked in the superintendent's parking space outside still has Arizona license plates. Not only is he breaking this Colorado law, perhaps in violation of his employment contract with you, but what does that say about his commitment to this community, his respect for Colorado laws? And you know that taxes that are paid with that registration go to support our public schools. He was quick to have you pay an Arizona company to come in here with their magic pill and support that school district in Arizona. But he has not been so quick to pay his taxes here in Colorado, has he? If you don't want to terminate his contract, then just reassign him. Make him a PE teacher. After all, that was the last position he held in Arizona. That was the last position he held in Arizona before he was hired here as superintendent, right? And I mean no offense to PE teachers. Thank you for listening.
Janet Estrada.
Good evening. My name is Janet Estrada. I have been in education for 10 years, serving as an ELA S teacher, as well as a culturally and linguistically diverse specialist. I have served my community as a teacher and now as a leader in the Denver Public Schools. I have my master's in educational psychology, and I am currently in the Administration, Leadership, and Policy Studies program at UCD, earning my EDS. I am here tonight because I'm very concerned about the removal of the biliteracy program. I am a Commerce City resident and have a child who attends Hanson Elementary School. I am asking that a clear statement be made about what the district is doing to support our emerging bilingual students. I also ask the district to communicate its actions with transparency and in a manner that allows for parents to understand what is actually happening. Principals have communicated that the bilingual programs are not going away, that they will still have an English language development block. This information is misleading and inaccurate. This statement is concerning because it raises serious questions about how school leaders in Adams 14 define bilingual education and biliteracy programs. Either school leaders in Adams 14 have limited knowledge about what a biliteracy program is, what the legal requirements surrounding English language learners are, or are proponents of an English-only education, in which case they do not belong in our schools or in our communities. This type of propaganda takes advantage of community members and parents who have not had the privilege or opportunity to have an advanced education or have years of experience as linguists or educators. English only is a conniving idea and will not be tolerated. White privilege and institutional racism has plagued our community for far too long now, and it will no longer be acceptable. Shame on school leaders who support an English-only approach. True leaders find ways to overcome barriers such as teacher retention, lack of training, budgets, or understanding on the whole child, and serve our children so that they can learn and grow in a safe, challenging, and culturally responsive environment, and in turn close the achievement gap. As a school board, one of your goals is to ensure all students will be at or above grade level. Kathy Escamilla's empirical research has demonstrated increased academic benefits for students in bilingual programs compared to English-only programs. Her and her colleagues also found that students in biliteracy programs outperform students in English-only programs on state assessments. The argument that English-only would raise test scores fails because assessment practices for emerging bilingual students are oftentimes invalid, as they are normed and created for monolingual English-speaking students and subsequently applied inappropriately to our English language learners. So as leaders, instead of doing what is easiest and implementing an English-only program, leaders should serve our students with dignity and advocate for equity in testing practices instead. Again, when we look at our students as numbers because of test scores, the result is that many of our school leaders see Latino ELLs as major contributors to the achievement gap rather than students with enormous potential. Please know that because of the experiences I have had as a member of a historically marginalized community, I will continue to mobilize and fiercely advocate for bilingual education and great leaders who hold students first, as my plan is to sit where you are one day, leading and making changes that hold students first and ensure that all students succeed without jeopardizing bilingualism. Muchas gracias y que tengan buenas noches.
Thank you. Jose Silva.
Good evening, board, constituents. 2 weeks ago, I admonished you and I condemned you. Today, I'm just going to speak to you. But before I get started in speaking to you, I want to spend a little of my time with you all, looking into the eyes of your constituents, your supervisors. All of these parents and community members, you're employed to them. I'm here today to put you on notice that this is it and it is over. These individuals behind me are your bosses, and in turn, the school board members are Abrego's boss. And since none of you want to listen to us and to the community, I'm here to tell you that we are coming for you. After every single one of your jobs, we will recall you, and fire you. Since we have launched this effort over a year ago, we have garnered the supporters and supports of over 500 supporters and signatures that we'll need to be able to launch a recall. Dr. Abrego asked for 2 years in the turnaround district, and in the last 2 weeks, the local media has blasted this school district for its failures on numerous issues. There is no other school district receiving so much negativity in the press like Adams 14 has in the last couple of weeks. Your flagship high school has lost 9 employees, and the assessment coordinator quit just last week. The math teacher spoke here a couple of weeks ago and stated the school is failing horrifically, and it's nobody's fault but those sitting at the table. When reviewing the organizational chart, the community has been left out, and that is over. We have recycled enough of your dirty politics on this board, and it is time to take out the basura. None of your elected seats are safe in the city, and that goes for anyone that supports this BS. No one. You will hear our words. You will be fired soon.
Steve Smith.
Good evening, my name's Steve Smith, and I'm the creator of AquePadres.org, which I'm sure you're all familiar with now. I spent my professional career in state-level education policy, working for the Florida legislature, Governor Hunt, North Carolina, and the National Conference of State Legislatures. I did education adequacy studies in a number of states, defended some states in lawsuits, worked with plaintiffs and others. But I come to you today as a person just seeking basic decency, because 2 weeks ago when I was here, there was a Latina woman who speaks Spanish that came here and spoke. And since that time, I've been told that she was not allowed to walk in her child's school. And what is unbelievably disturbing to me is that something tells me that an Anglo male who speaks English, that wouldn't have happened to. And in regards to that, not only will I speak for those who may be fearful of speaking, but I just ask whoever was responsible for keeping that mother from her child, do you not have any decency? Do you not have any sense of guilt? Or do you not have a conscience that bothers you at night? Because when all the cameras are gone and all of us are gone, I think we all had mothers that taught us better than that. And I ask you, in the middle of the night, if you wake up to go to the bathroom or when you're all by yourself, to look deep down inside of your heart and make sure that nothing like that ever, ever happens again. But rest assured, if it does, I heard you're new to the job, and I'd much rather watch a Bronco game with you, but there's going to be actions that will be taken to ensure that things like that never happen again. Now, turning to from an educational researcher's perspective, looking at beyond textbooks is very, very interesting. Out of the 116 partners that Beyond Textbooks has, 109 of them are in Arizona. This is an Arizona program. Also, what's interesting is if you look at the NAEP scores in Arizona and you look at the achievement gap between ELLs and non-ELLs, I will give you the rankings. 4th grade math, 2nd worst in the country. 4th grade reading, 3rd worst in the country. 8th grade math, 5th worst in the country. And I believe 8th grade reading was 3rd worst in the country. So it's very peculiar why you would adopt something like Beyond Textbooks here. And what's particularly concerning about the Beyond Textbooks is that when you go to their website, they don't even have anything that said that their research is supported. They have testimonials, but testimonials are not research. And I ask you, if you seem to talk about the lack of improvement in the statistics and everything else like that here in Adams 14, but from a researcher's perspective that has been studying this for 15 years, why is the program that you want to implement here show no research at all, even on their website? And overall, what I would like to say to you is that I know down in Arizona, there's kind of you often dismiss OCR requirements and things of that nature and think you can thumb your nose at the federal government. But I can assure you, you are no longer in Arizona, sir. And we are not Arizona.
Thank you. Angel Plata.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Angel Plata. I'm currently a freshman at the Community College of Denver pursuing a double major in nonprofits and human services. I graduated from Adams City in May 2017. I'm here to talk about Inspire. Now, Inspire is something that could be described in many different ways. Some people might describe it as a nonprofit, others as a support group. I'm here happily today to be able to call it a family. Growing up, going to school in Adams 14, I realized, we have math, English, science, and these are all essentials to pursue a career, all essentials for life and to pursue a college career. But the one thing that no one teaches us is beauty, poetry, our dreams, and the most important thing is love. This is something that unfortunately we are not taught in school, elementary, middle, or high school, and sometimes we're not even taught at our own homes. Inspire has given me the ability to learn that. Inspire has given me the ability to break down walls that tell me I can't go to college because I'm an undocumented student, walls that put my ethnicity against me, walls that put my community against me. And I love Adams City, I love this community, I love Adams 14, and I would not give it up for the world. Now, I know a lot of people may see Inspire as a nuisance or something that shouldn't be here, and a lot of people might say, you know, like he just does it for the money or, you know, for the school, and I can say here that his job is a 24/7 thing. Now, this is something personal to me. This rose tattooed on my hand is it's very important to me. It's an event that happened in my life. My sister was murdered beginning into my senior year a year ago. Now, this is an event that put me into an abyss of anger and despair, something that I didn't know how to comprehend, something that my family didn't know how to comprehend, something that teachers, counselors, no one that could help me with. And I'm thankful that Jesse Ramirez was there for me that night, outside of school, outside of his work hours, also Jose Guardiola. And out of this program, I'm glad that I got the support not only from them, but from people like Hector Frias and Mr. Thompson that have been the biggest support to me. And thanks to them, I'm able to break down all these walls, all the naysayers that told me I can't go to college, all the people that, even my family that assumed that I was going to drop out of high school and not pursue anything. And thanks to them, I'm able to pursue my dream as a double major nonprofits and human services. I'm able to finally set my goal, achieve something that you know, something that has been so great in my family. I'm able to be a first generation, not only to go to college, but to graduate high school. I'm able to be a first generation I'm able to be a first generation, not only to that, but to finally look into my future. A lot of teachers don't challenge us to look into our dreams, to look into our goals, to determine what are we going to do for our lives. And that's something that no PE teacher, no math teacher, no counselor, no principal can teach us. And I'm thankful for Inspire. And here's a perfectly good example of what Inspire does and what it has done for me. Thank you.
Thank you, Angel. Leslie Munoz.
Good evening. My name is Julissa Munoz. I graduated from Adams City High School 2 years ago. I'm a sophomore at TSU studying social work. I'm also a dreamer. My journey through Inspire, I went through the program my senior year, and then since then I've come back and helped them any chance I get, whether it's the institution we have, the institute we have during the summer or the training days we have throughout the year. I am one of many students, many stories from this community that have been silenced by the very people that are running this district, that are supposed to be working for us. I'm here today because something needs to seriously change at the high school. The students are the ones suffering. Through my 4 years at the high school, we had 4 different principals. Mr. Thompson was the last one to come in my senior year, but Mr. Thompson was different. He never filled us with empty promises of scholarships that were going to give to us just because we graduated. No, he told us that we needed to work hard, but he was also going to be alongside us. He never told us no in student council where we had dreams to bring more school spirit into the community, because it wasn't just a high school, it was our community. We wanted to bring back little kids to come back to the events we would have. He wanted us to soar like the eagles we were meant to always be. Mr. Guardiola to this day continues to give me the guidance I need. Well, Jesse, he's given me the opportunity to come back and help inspire kids just like me to never give up. Like I said, I'm a dreamer. I was brought to this country when I was a year and a half. Adams 14 has been my home since then. Nothing can never change that. These 3 men have saved me. Or else I would have dropped out of high school. The beginning of my senior year, my dad committed suicide, and to me, that was the end of it. But Jesse was there for me. He never let me down. He said that anything I wanted I could do. He helped me get through that grief, but he also told me that wasn't the end of my life. He told me that there was something there for me, that I was meant to be here for a reason. And then coming back and hearing from current students, from my own brother that's a sophomore at the high school, saying that it's going in a downhill spiral. The schedules aren't still ready. Last semester, it took them almost 2 months to give them a schedule that was ready. 2 months into the semester, that's kind of crazy for me to realize. The counselors have left. They don't have a senior counselor. Stand up, all the seniors right here. They don't have a senior counselor. They're about to graduate. Inspire needs to stay in this community so we can continue to see our students grow and prosper and break the poverty cycle that continues by continuing their education post-secondary, so they can continue their education after high school. I want all the Inspire students to stand up. And then I want all the CSU students that were also Inspire students to continue to stand up. We drove down from CSU today to show you how important this is to us and to show you that our stories matter and that we were the people that showed these young students that it's possible to go to high school, to go to college, even though that people like you guys sometimes don't believe in us. We drove down from CSU to show you that it's possible to continue and to show that Inspire matters, because if it wasn't for Jesse, none of us would be at CSU. Most of us are on full rides. Most of us are dreamers. I just want you to seriously reflect on everything that I've said and to see the faces that are standing here today before you make any decisions on Inspire. Thank you.
Thank you. Kayla Prieto.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Kayla Prieto. I graduated from Adams City High School last spring in 2017, and I am a current freshman at Colorado State University. I'm here today to talk about my experience with Inspire. I have been in Inspire and I have seen the benefits it brings to students. And with all due respect, I believe you all are wrong for believing otherwise. Inspire has helped me deal with my emotions, improve my self-esteem, and allowed me to be real with myself. It has made me realize that as a Latina and a first-generation student, I am faced with many more obstacles than my white counterparts. However, knowing that, I have been able to push myself to prove statistics wrong and accomplish my dreams. I have gained another family through Inspire, and although I have graduated, Jesse, Hector, and Guardiola still keep me on my toes. Just as much as Inspire has helped me, I am positive that Inspire is and will continue to help others. It disappoints me to hear that how my fellow peers talk about the high school. They say it's inadequate and disorganized. Students need love, support, and consistency in order to succeed. I believe Inspire is an organization that provides that. No other programs at the high school provide the same needs as Inspire. If you do not make a real change to benefit the students, you will only rob the students from the education they deserve, and that's not fair to them. With that being said, I ask of you to closely consider the students and their needs before making any final decisions. Thank you. Have a great night.
Thank you. Maria Gonzalez.
Good evening, members of the board. My name is Maria Gonzalez. I've been a lifelong community member. And tonight, if you're not moved by everybody here, I just don't know what you have inside of you. For many years, I have witnessed the dysfunctional board members and administration of this school district. I know some of you personally, and it's a shame that you're allowing what is going on right now in our school district. It's just a shame. We cannot continue to have lack of accountability. Apparently, the Board of Education and administration still does not know what our community educational needs are or how to approach to do community outreach. I walked the streets with Judy. Those of you that might remember Judy Jaramillo. She died, and we still have these problems with our lack of accountability with our students, with our community. I'm asking you to please continue the bilingual program. I am a product of the bilingual education. I consider myself a successful business owner and an advocate of this community that could be many of our school district needs to show as business owners and just successful students that decide that they want to learn Spanish and English and that you're not giving them that support. I was part of the hiring process for Dr. Abrego. And at that time, we had limited choices of the candidates offered to us, okay? We hoped that because of what we had read about Dr. Abrego, that he would be the best choice for the community. However, after learning his lack of experience and his lack of accountability, on behalf of the district community, I'm asking for his resignation. And I'm asking because I understand the retaliation and the lawsuits that we can't afford anymore. I'm asking to move him into another position so that we can hire the best candidate that is going to be doing the job that this district deserves. Please consider that. I'm also asking for the district to continue the accountability and comply with the OCR. It's time. Let's make that change. Our community needs us. We got to be there for the community. You chose to be in this position. If you do not want to continue to be in this position, we understand. But let people like Janet be in that position, or other people that want to be the advocate of these students of this district and take us to where we really need to be. You keep on running, keep on being. We need to have that accountability finally for our community. Thank you.
Thank you. Gabriela Quintana.
Good evening. My name is Gabriela Quintana. I'm a former student from Adams 14 District. I'm here from CSU, so I came and drove down with a couple of my friends. I'm here on behalf of Inspire. I'm here to tell you guys that it was very difficult for me as I've been sitting down and hearing all these stories about how the high school this and that. It's very true. I graduated in 2015, and as you heard, I had a different principal every year. I never really had the support. I had to do everything by myself. So I was offered a scholarship from Adams 14 District for $20,000 to go to Messi University. Unfortunately, I wasn't able to pay for the rest of the money, but I never had those resources because of my legal status, and so it was hard for me to pay for everything. Another option was to go to community college, so I graduated from community college last year with my associates in business. Knowing that I never had those resources, I've always had other friends who were in the grade below me, and I've always known that they had so much support with Jesse, with Hector. Hector's my cousin who helped me go to CSU, was that resource that helped me go through Inspire and that led me to CSU. I just want you guys to know that Inspire is a very close community. It helps students see and overcome different barriers that I was never able to overcome before I went to college. I see that they're so united. They're a family, and I'm becoming a part of their family, and makes me very sad that if Inspire doesn't get to continue, other students won't have the opportunity to go to college that don't know that they can go to college and that it's possible, and everyone who says they can't, it's obviously not true. I know that in my class, if there was something like that, I know that more than half of the students would have gone to college. But because of that, I had to do everything on myself. Like, I never had any of the support that all of these students have, and I can see how they're passionate and how they're confident and how all that they've grown to to go to school, and they've grown to become better people. So I just hope you guys take that into consideration.
Thank you. Angelica Gutierrez.
Good evening. I'm Angelica, a senior at Adams City High School. Let me just tell you my memorable senior year. Coming in the first day, it already didn't feel like Adams City High School, with the whole new admin assuming we were all Crips and Bloods. They told us one of our rules was to never assume, but they right away assumed that we were all in gangs, to the point that we couldn't even wear a shirt with a red stripe on it. If it isn't appropriate to wear ripped jeans, it is inappropriate. I say it's inappropriate to have your MySpace selfie on the school website. And I strongly suggest the principal to change it, because it's kind of embarrassing. Coming in second semester to find out we didn't have a senior counselor was sad. I also suggest when you make decisions to keep the students in your mind. When you make decisions for the better of the students, you create an environment that students and teachers both want to be in. You're making bad decisions after bad decisions, and you don't realize how badly the students and teachers are being affected. I speak for the students who no longer have anybody to go to about scholarships and college applications, and I come here for the teachers who no longer want to come in to talk to you because they fear in losing their jobs, or it's pointless because you guys don't listen. For that reason, we are a failing school. You being inconsiderate of those in classrooms day to day is why we've stayed a failing school. The last thing I suggest is for you to take a step back and see what really matters, because I know that Inspire matters, having a senior counselor, all that matters. If it wasn't first semester for them, I wouldn't have applied to any colleges or any scholarships. So I know students who don't have those resources right now are really struggling. So I suggest you keep things like Inspire at our school, and I suggest that you guys give us a counselor back, because I know there's students really struggling with that one. So yeah.
Thank you. I can't read your first name, Miss Garza or Mr. Garza.
It's Julia.
Julia, okay.
No, Julia.
Julia.
No, Julia.
Jonita.
Julia.
Julia, thank you.
Okay, I'm Julia, and I'm a senior at Adams City High School. I've been a part of this district since kindergarten. I have completed these years hearing negative things about this district, but I've continued to be a supporter because I believe that we could do better. Going into high school and receiving Gianni Thompson as our principal, it felt like things were getting better. Things were turning around, and you can feel things improving. That hasn't been the case lately. We as a student body are concerned with the decisions that have been made and the decisions being made. We came here last year asking for our voices to be heard due to our walkout. We had opinions on selecting the administration to lead us. You all believed you were making the right decision. That this previous semester, we had teachers leave because they weren't being heard, put on administration leave for no logical reason, and staff transferred when they were one of the few support systems that we had. I hope that you continue to support programs like Inspire, Talent Search, and Gear Up, because they're the only constant that we have. I believe that you should take into consideration when you believe that admin are good for us, that you think about how we feel, because the admin you have selected are not that. I think you should start at the core of who you are allowing to hire our admin and start there with that change. Thank you.
Thank you. Maria Chavez.
Doctora Abrego y señora Chuleta, estimados miembros de la Junta Directiva, miembros de la comunidad, mi nombre es María Chávez. Tengo una hija en la escuela Mónaco. Voy a dar mi relato en español y al final el intérprete puede hacerlo en inglés. Porque esta preocupación que tengo no solamente la quiero presentar ante ustedes, pero también quiero dárselo a conocer a los miembros de la comunidad debido a su seriedad. Quiero expresar mi sentir y el de mi hija respecto desde que tenemos una nueva directora en Mónaco Elementary. El ambiente en la escuela no es bueno. Mi hija y yo nos sentimos inseguras e incómodas. El miércoles 17 de enero, la directora llevó a cabo una junta con los padres de los niños en el programa, que están dentro del programa de lenguaje dual. Ahí ella mencionó cosas que me alarmaron, por lo que decidimos programar una junta con ella para que aclarara dichas preocupaciones. Desde entonces se me ha tratado completamente diferente. Me ha negado la estancia en la escuela. El viernes 19 de enero, en la mañana, quise acompañar a mi hija a su salón y la secretaria de padres me dijo que no podía ir, que eran órdenes de la directora. Yo hablé con la directora ese mismo día después de clases, pero ella negó cada punto que le presenté. No logramos llegar a un acuerdo. Debido a la discrepancia en mis conversaciones con la directora, he documentado las últimas conversaciones que he tenido con ella y presentaré esta evidencia si es necesario. El día de ayer quise acompañar a mi hija a la hora del almuerzo. Todavía faltaban 5 minutos para que la niña regresara a su salón y me vinieron a decir que no podía estar ahí, que me tenía que ir. En ese momento sentí mucha rabia y me fui a mi casa, pero sentí mucha angustia al dejar a mi hija en la escuela. Al poco rato decidí ir por ella a la escuela y llevármela a casa. Era tal mi angustia que le pedí ayuda a un oficial de seguridad, quien vino a la escuela cuando fui a recoger a mi hija. Estos 2 incidentes en la escuela Mónaco ya los reporté a la Oficina de Derechos Civiles. Ahora ya no me siento tranquila de dejar a mi hija en la escuela. Desde que entro no me siento bienvenida ni segura. Al contrario, hacen sentir como si yo fuera una criminal. Se me cuestionan todo. Se me niega el poder dejar a mi hija en el salón. Se me niega el estar con mi hija disfrutando de un desayuno o almuerzo, cuando lo único que quiero es estar al pendiente de ella. Me parece realmente injusto que me nieguen el derecho que tengo como mamá. No me siento con la confianza de hablar con la directora porque ya me ha demostrado en varias ocasiones que no es totalmente transparente como dice ser. Debido a estos cambios, he decidido que mi hija no asista a la escuela, hasta que ella y yo nos sintamos cómodas y seguras de nuevo. Cabe recalcar que pedí instrucción al maestro para que mi hija pueda hacer tarea en casa y no se atrase en su educación, en lo que resolvemos esta situación. Les pido por favor, tomen acciones respecto al trato que se me está dando en la escuela y que está afectando a mi familia y a mí. Quiero que se me dé un trato justo y respetuoso y que me aseguren que a mi hija también le darán un buen trato. No quiero que este problema se prolongue por mucho tiempo. Mi hija tiene el derecho de estar tranquila y segura en la escuela y no deseo mantenerla mucho tiempo fuera. Yo soy uno de los padres de familia que defiende el programa de lenguaje dual y por lo tanto he hablado antes frente a ustedes expresando mis preocupaciones. También considero que si no tenemos una respuesta a favor del programa de lenguaje dual para 4º grado y así sucesivamente, tomaré la decisión de que mi hija esté fuera de los exámenes PARCC en CIMAS. Como ya lo he dicho antes, quiero una solución a mi problema. Es realmente necesario ponerle fin a esta situación. Gracias.
Thank you.
Excuse me, now I'll be reading the same thing but in English. Dr. Abrego, Mr. Achuleta, dear Board of Members and members of the community, my name is Maria Guadalupe Chavez, and I have a daughter at Monaco Elementary, and I'm going to give my story in Spanish, or in English, and at the end, I want the interpreter to read this in English. I don't want just to be aware of my concern, but also members of the community because of its seriousness. I want to express my feelings and those of my daughters regarding our new principal at Monaco Elementary. The atmosphere at this school is not good. My daughter and I feel insecure and uncomfortable. On Wednesday, January 17, the principal held a meeting with the parents of children in the dual language program. There, she mentioned several things that alarmed me, so I decided to schedule a meeting with her to clarify these concerns. Since then, I have been treated completely different. I have been denied my right to be in the school. On Friday, January 19 in the morning, I wanted to accompany my daughter to her classroom, and the parents' liaison told me that I could not go and these were orders from the principal. I spoke with the principal that the same day after school, but she denied every point I presented, and we could not reach an agreement. To do this discrepancy in my conversations with the principal, I have documented the last conversation I have had with her and will present this evidence if it's necessary. Yesterday, I wanted to accompany my daughter during the lunch hour. There were still 5 minutes left for my daughter to go to her room, and they came to tell me that I could not be there, that I have to go. At that moment, I felt very angry and went home. But I was worried about leaving my daughter at school. After a while, I decided to go to the school and take her home with me. I felt so unsafe that I asked a security officer for help, who came to the school when I went to pick up my daughter. I have already reported these 2 incidents to the Office for Civil Rights. Now, I am not comfortable leaving my daughter at school. For the moment I come in, I do not feel welcome or safe. On the contrary, that makes me feel I'm a criminal. I am questioned about everything. I am not allowed to leave my daughter in her classroom. I am denied being with my daughter, even during breakfast or lunch, when all I want is to be present at school for my daughter so she feels comfortable. I find it really unfair that they deny me the right that I have as a mother. I do not feel confident talking with the principal because she has already shown me several times that she is not totally transparent as she says she is. Due to these changes, I have decided that my daughter will not be attending the school until she and I feel comfortable and safe again. You should know that I asked the teacher at the school so that my daughter can complete her homework and not fall behind in her education until we solve this situation. I asked you to please take action regarding the treatment that we are being given in school, which is affecting my family and I. I want to be treated fairly and respectfully, and to be assured that my daughter will also be treated well. I do not want this problem to go on for a long time. My daughter has the right to be calm and safe at school, and I don't want to keep her out for long. I am one of the parents who defends the dual language program, and therefore I have spoken before you expressing my concerns, and I also believe that if we do not have a response in favor of the dual language program for 4th grade and so on, I will make the decision that my daughter be out of the exams. That will be PARCS and CMAS. As I said before, I want a solution to my problem, and it's really necessary to put an end to this situation. Thank you.
Sheila Shannon.